Today we have very special guest, President of the North American Mission Board, the one and only Dr. Kevin Ezell.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. Man, Kevin, it really is great to sit down with you. I know we have a lot going on this week. We're all together here in Atlanta at Home Week. Missionaries from all over North America coming together for this mission that we have. We're locking arms together.
Right.
You've been here now for 11 years.
Right. Almost.
Almost 11 years, and God has done so much throughout North America. I just want to kick it off by asking, what are you most excited about? What are you celebrating right now after all these years?
Family, multiplication, restoration. I'm Dahadi Lewis. Join me, Noah Oldham and Hayden Radner, as we come to you from Atlanta, St. Louis, and Las Vegas, as we seek to add value to your church planting journey. We'll have real-time, authentic conversations that are relevant to the life of the church planter and pastors. Join us as we hear from leaders of this movement from across North America and discover what it really takes to plant churches everywhere for everyone.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the We Are Send Network podcast. My name is Noah Oldham, the lead pastor of August Gate in St. Louis, joined as always by Dahadi Lewis, the lead pastor of Blueprint in Atlanta, and Hayden Ratner, the senior pastor of the Walk Church in Las Vegas, Nevada. Brothers, good to see you.
Man, yes, so good to be here.
Good to be together. And today we have very special guest, President of the North American Mission Board, the one and only Dr. Kevin Ezell.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. Man, Kevin, it really is great to sit down with you. I know we have a lot going on this week. We're all together here in Atlanta at Home Week. Missionaries from all over North America coming together for this mission that we have. We're locking arms together.
Right.
You've been here now for 11 years.
Right. Almost.
Almost 11 years. And God has done so much throughout North America. I just want to kick it off by asking, what are you most excited about? What are you celebrating right now after all these years?
Sure. Well, the first 10 years, we went through a good bit of change, you could say, a lot of change. And so it was the challenge of change. And these next 10, I really feel like is maximizing momentum. And we have momentum. And what I'm most excited about, whether it be from, I just talked to a planner in Alaska yesterday or a planner in Boston, and we have some incredible high capacity church planners. And man, I am so proud. What energizes me is going to the cities and seeing the guys doing what they do and the results of what they do, and the fact that we have, the 4-year success rate over 80%. We have our assessments where we want it to be, and the first 10 years, man, it's kind of like rebuilding an airplane in mid-flight. We didn't have everything where we wanted to be. Now we feel really good about the assessments, really the training, the coaching, and now it's finding more high capacity planners. And high capacity planners attract high capacity planners. And so setting up more residencies and just multiplying what we do, just got to stay in our lane and do more of it, and with excellence.
Yeah. Maximizing momentum.
That's it. M&M.
M&M.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
Kevin, you one of the misnomers is that Send Network, specifically in the first 10 years, that we only plant churches in cities. But you mentioned Alaska and everything. But and we know that we're planting churches everywhere for everyone. Talk a little bit about that.
No, I appreciate you saying that. That's my fault. All right, I own that. When I started, 80 to 85% of North America live in and around cities, and we didn't focus in cities. We were very weak in cities. So I said, hey, let's have send cities. Let's focus on where the population, and that I think was appropriate, although I marketed it probably a little wrong, where I insinuated that we only did it in the cities. And I really meant, hey, we plant churches everywhere for everyone, but we need to focus where the high population areas are and go where we've not gone well before. And because they're more expensive. It's a lot more difficult to do a city. But I should have marketed it better, where I expressed what we really want to do, and that's to plant churches everywhere for everyone. So if you didn't hear it the first 10 years, we plant churches everywhere for everyone.
Say that.
Right. Yeah, that's good.
Louder. Right.
So
That's good.
when you think about, like, there's Send Network, but there's also Send Relief, and there's evangelism and leadership. When we talk about the totality of NAMB, our planners here, we are constantly talking about Send Network, and we said we are Send Network. But explain a little bit, like, what would planters need to know about NAMB that you would want them to know about?
What they need to know most about NAMB is they don't have to know about NAMB. I mean, I guess what I mean by that is we want them to feel like we are Send Network. Send Relief is the way that we think the best way to restore our cities and involve our churches in compassion, mercy ministries is Send Relief. It's fantastic. And evangelism is the base of everything we do. I often get asked, well, how do I need to teach my people about NAMB? And we're kind of the umbrella of of bringing it all together. But I don't want them to feel apologetic for saying, man, my people don't know who NAMB is. That's really not a problem. You know, I don't know who owns the car dealership or where you bought the car, but you know, you like the car. I just want them to focus on We Are Send Network and don't sweat the rest. And we do want them to identify with Send Network. And I'm not ashamed of NAMB. I'm just saying, you know, to a lost person in New York, that's really not important. It's most important. I want them to know about Jesus, not NAMB. And so don't sweat that part. We do need them to know who, you know, we're funded, more than half our resources are funded by something called the Annie Armstrong Easter offering. Some people call it the Send Network offering. It's just all about 100% of that money goes on the field. It's important that they buy in and be a part of the team and know that part. But the whole purpose of NAMB is to provide, you know, fuel to the flame, if you will, Send Network and Send Relief. And so what I've tried to do everywhere I travel is just, look, don't sweat it. Because I get asked that all the time. I just feel bad if my people don't know. It's just not important. You know, it's just not. We're here to focus on, you know, we want to build the strongest church planting network in the world. And we're on track, and we've gained momentum and are headed there. And they can be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I get planters saying that. They feel like, well, maybe when they're talking to the president of NAMB, oh, my people don't know it well enough. But every orientation that we do, we bring every church planter here.
Right.
They come to the building here in Alpharetta, and they're taking pictures outside the building in the hallways because they're saying, I didn't know it was a part of something this big.
Yeah.
That has a family that's so large, has resources that's behind me. And so in one way, you don't need to sweat it, but another way, it is going to fuel the mission, and your people realize you have something behind you. My goodness.
Yeah, and they need to realize that there are 47,000 churches of 15 million people all over North America that love them, pray for them, that undergird them. So they need to know about that part. And so you're absolutely right. And the fact that, you know, I love the story of, you know, we have an 85-year-old lady who passed recently and left a good bit of her inheritance to NAMB for church planting. And you know, put a picture of her up and you say, hey, you have no idea how much church planting minded she would be. You would never think that. But she is. And we have a whole convention of people who pray specifically for cities and specifically for each of you guys. And that's the beauty of it.
Amazing.
We're part of a big family, and you have a lot more uncles and aunts than you realize. And with that, we have some crazy ones. We do. But you know.
Yeah, let's talk about the crazy uncles. You talked about the first 10 years, challenge and change, right? And then we're going in, like, the next year is maximizing momentum. You know, if we're going to maximize momentum, but specifically, there's a lot of tension, you know, within SBC, within the church, you know, as a whole. How would you recommend planters navigating that challenge, you know, and that change or the tension that they may be facing?
Yeah, especially if it's a tension in SBC or just a tension in culture. SBC specifically. What I tell guys is, look, sometimes you need to take a deep breath and stay. You know, social media, I think sometimes you overestimate your influence. Right. You know, and you think everybody just needs to hear everything you're thinking. You know, they probably don't. When in doubt, don't. And also just don't overestimate it. You know, I was reading a book recently, and it talked about the 2% jerk factor. It's a guy that started the Ritz-Carlton. And he said, even 2% of the people we can't please. I mean, the Ritz-Carlton can't please them. So, I mean, why do you think you can? That's all we do is try to please people. We can't please these 2%. You think in the SBC, there are 47,000 churches. 2% of that's 940. Okay? And so...
You're good at math.
I've done this before. but 940, I tell guys who get frustrated with the SBC or this or that or about this issue and that, you got some nutcase over here doing this. And I say, look, take a legal pad or take your iPad or whatever you like to do, number out to 940. Every time you see a guy on Twitter, it just drives you crazy. Write it down. You get up to 940, call me. There's just not that many. There's a few that are very loud and obnoxious. And there's some people out there who purposely say things that are not true. You wish it were not the case, but they do. They just like to stir up a false narrative for whatever reason. They'll have to pay, they'll pay the price for that one day. But that we have to stay focused on, and don't let one or two loudmouth people who let us take care of that, and we'll respond to their questions if they have them. Just don't be distracted. And I just think you're easy prey to being distracted from the mission when you allow one or two, people say things on issues, and you're like, oh my gosh, just ignore that. I found that on of course, I'm older, so I use Twitter. My wife helps me interpret Instagram and all that. But I just mute people, and I only follow happy people now. You know what I mean? Happy. I don't mind people asking questions at all, but there's that other crowd. Honestly, you mute 5 to 10 people, and your life changes real fast. And it's just not worth the time and attention you give it, because there's just not that many of them. You say, oh yeah, there is. I guarantee they're not. We have a team at NAMB that follows, who the repeat critics are, and typically, there was one particular issue that came out, and there were 300 tweets out there about it, and 3 guys did half of those.
Right.
And so they get in this little bubble, and they just talk to themselves, and people get. That's just, we got so much more to do. There are lost people to reach. Just stay focused on the mission, and if it's significant, we'll address it. If it's not, we won't. And we just got to stay focused and faithful.
Love that. Yeah. I think about just Nina and I, and in our season of church planting, we're still in practitioner-led ministry here in Las Vegas. I remember originally talking to Pastor Vance about planting our church, and he said, I got to tell you this partnership with NAMB. And for the longest, I had no idea what that, I didn't even know there was a B on it, right? I was like, what? We're part of NAMB. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to find out one day. Yeah. And, when I think about, I want to honor you, Dr. Ezell and Kevin. You helped me do that. But also just speak to potential church planters that are leaning in, watching this, listening right now, just maybe even on the fence of whether I stay or not. A proverb comes to my mind when I think about you and just this organization. It's the proverb that says, he who gives freely grows all the richer. The person who withholds what they should give only suffers want. I hear stories like that lady, and I'm just thinking, God just continues to just give to this thing because of the generosity of your heart. Nina and I were so moved, and we still are to this day, to be a part of the Send Network. The generosity is overflowing, and it's not just financial. It's care, it's prayer, it's swag, it's being a part of something here in Alpharetta and being able to be here on orientation and at home week and just things like that. But I really believe that's top down from the sense that it comes from your heart. Yeah. You give freely, and I feel like God just continues to give freely to this big house called NAMB Send Network. It's an honor to be a part of it, to even have you on my left side and right side here. I just feel like, man, I'm sitting around some goats, in a very, Jesus is king.
You know
right?
what goats
I
mean?
do. Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard about that.
But man, I just wanted to just encourage somebody who may be leaning in here, thinking about, if the voices from social media are the loudest voices, let the generosity, the heart, the culture of NAMB Send Network be the louder voice that's flooding your heart, because man, this is really something special that we're a part of. I was just going to ask you, Kevin, where does that come from? Where does that spirit of generosity, wanting to not even get the credit, not even wanting to? I would rather than find out about NAMB later. How does that come inside of you, drive you?
Oh, it's just all about the mission. I would encourage any planner that's considering being a part. Look, we talk about we are Send Network and we are family. We are family in the truest sense of the word. And now there's challenges that come with a family. I got my whole family gets together. Our whole family gets together. You got some different personalities
every time,
and you just got to be real patient at those family gatherings. You love them all, but you got to be patient with them. And that's what I would encourage you is, you'll never be a part of a family that will really behave like a family. And like you said, bless you in ways that you never dreamed.
Wow.
Then you're going to be a part of Send Network. Now, is it perfect in the sense of everybody? You're going to find that everybody believes just like you? No, and that's the beauty of it. If you really want to be an organization where everybody thinks exactly like you in every nuance of theology, whatever, then you're going to have to start your own network, and it has to be very small. And that's possible. You can meet in a booth at a restaurant for your annual meeting. You can do all those things. I'm just saying the beauty of, you just got to, I think there's beauty of the fact that we're all different. We approach things differently. And I'm about keeping the tent as big as, we have a statement of faith we stay within, but keep the tent large, and let's accomplish it's about the mission, the end product. It's just not. That's why Paul said in Acts, I consider my life worth nothing to me, but that I might complete the task
Great.
the Lord's given me,
Man.
the task of testifying the gospel. And so that's what it's about. It's not about you. It's all about Him. And we often preach that, but that's how we have to live it. I mean, we are Send Network, but the ultimate goal is not to plant a church. It's to reach a city, and it's to reach a country. And it's to reach
That's how
the
you
world.
maximize momentum, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Staying focused on the mission.
That's right. I'm so corny, man. Today we go up there and everybody's gonna have M&Ms. Just remind them
man.
M&Ms. As you crunch those babies, it's all about maximizing.
I love
momentum.
that.
Kevin, in my context, when we talk about you, we call you Uncle Kevin. We do that.
Thanks for at least the uncle, grandfather.
Not because you're one of the crazy uncles, but because you kind of have that fatherly uncle type of relationship with planters. They look at you like that. They really do. You care about them. It's a personal thing. And as kind of a wiser older brother to younger planters, you've been in ministry for a number of years.
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of context. You've been in this role now for over a decade. What is something that you would warn planters of to be careful for, to watch out for?
Yeah, that's a great question. And again, I'm a planter wannabe, all right? I've always planted churches as a pastor, never planted, but I see people in ministry, and what I would encourage is sometimes guys have a mentor or somebody they appreciate, and what I've seen is some of the highest capacity guys want to pass. They don't want to do the small things. They don't want to do the grunt work. You guys have done the grunt work. You know what it means to set up, tear down, and spend time and build those relationships and disciple one-on-one. There's a new rule in the major leagues this year. I don't like it, and I think they're going to do it, get rid of it. But if you go to extra innings in baseball, I know baseball is not your deal.
I know.
But extra innings is when they go to the 10th inning. Okay? They're tied. And so, and what they do this year is they put a runner on second. The guy didn't get a hit. He didn't get a walk. They just let him get a pass. They just put him on second.
Right.
And he's there. Like, he didn't do nothing to deserve it. And then now you see if you can get him in. And it's supposed to speed the game up. Now, I think sometimes young planters and young ministers, period, they live that out. They want to go to second without having gone to first or even get a hit. And say, look, I don't want to do the grunt work, but I really want to enjoy some of the benefits. I want to be walk church 2 years in.
Yeah.
I want to be blueprint 3 or 4 years in. I don't want to pay the price. And some guys I've just seen, they're not willing to do the grunt work. Listen, my very first church, they voted me in 7-0. I had to start the gas heater and couldn't get the match. We used matches at that point. I couldn't get it lit. And singed my hair one morning, preached with my hair. I was planter hair before planter hair was planter hair.
Picture of that somewhere?
Yeah, exactly. And so, that is what I would
word.
encourage. You just got to stay humble and understand. Look, you got to earn it, and don't forget there's work involved in this. If you want something that doesn't work, you need to find something other than planting a church.
Right. No
It's
shortcuts.
hard. And too many guys want to be put on second without getting there on their own efforts.
Wow,
Man.
that's
good.
strong. I've seen a number of planters that they have had that mentality, and they get to a point where everything comes crashing down, and you're able to trace it back, and it's because of that feeling of if I can do this, I get second for free.
Yeah.
I'll never watch a major league game the same.
Yes.
My goodness.
Look,
That's
you didn't
strong.
earn it. Don't
Yeah,
extra
right.
innings
Don't just
good.
go
So
on
now
the
I can
base.
go tell other people about that rule and extra innings and act like
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And so that way, when people tell you, hey, your sermon was a bunt, you need to know what that is.
Yeah.
It's not a very good hit.
Yeah. One of the areas when it comes to just not shortcutting it, not just going to second base, that you actually helped me with early on was a message you did in a class at Southeastern Seminary.
Yeah.
And you talked about how in some of your days as a pastor, you said, I might mess up your quote here, but you said something along the lines of, you could have average preaching, average worship,
Right.
but if you love people,
Right.
people will come to your church. Your church will grow.
Right.
I think you talked about doing like some fly fishing and just different things. that,
I was part of a bowling league. I
Yeah.
don't bowl.
Yeah.
But I did it just to connect with my guys.
Totally.
Went frog gigging.
And
And again, it's about relationships.
right.
And that's why I think sometimes guys make the mistake. I want to be a planner, but I don't really get into people. I don't want to spend.
That's where
If you
it's
don't
at.
get into
Man,
relationships
that's where
with
it's at.
people, that it's just the wrong thing for you.
Right.
Before we go, we got a couple minutes, but I want to ask you, because a lot of times when you like SBC, what's being promoted out there is always about the numbers.
Right.
Numbers. But I know that
Right.
that's also, you talked about relationships and
Right.
being able to connect with people. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of why we put those numbers out, but at the same time,
Yeah.
the quality versus quantity argument? Because when you're so massive, sometimes you can feel so disconnected or not personal, but like, can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Now, what we really focus on is our 4 and 5 year, when the point where we see where churches are and if they're multiplying or not. We could come up with any number of plants you want this year. Typically it's right. We shoot for 600 because we feel like we can find 600 high capacity planters. But it's just not how many you plant year to year. It's the sustainability.
Great.
And when we want the quality, I'd rather do a quality church plant in each major city, at least one a year, than to do 10 and none of them make it.
Yeah.
So it's just so much more about quality, and the best way to do that is together.
Yeah, the vision. Love the vision for Send Network, a healthy, multiplying church in every community across North America.
There it is.
Right.
And Kevin, with your leadership at the North American Mission Board, and Dahadi, you as the president of Send Network, I think we have great days ahead to get there.
Sweater vest. That's the key.
Sweater
Every
vest.
planter needs to wear a sweater.
There it is.
And he'll give you one for free.
That's right.
M&M's.
Hey, thanks for joining us for another episode of the We Are Send Network podcast. As always, if you want more information about the Send Network and how to get involved, you can check us out at sendnetwork.com. Just pull out your phone and text the words Send Network to 888-123. That's Send Network to 888-123. Until next time, we are Send Network.
You have been listening to We Are Send Network, a resource of the North American Mission Board. For more information about today's podcast and other relevant resources, visit sendnetwork.com.